Welcome to this week's Hymn of the Week. This week we have hymn 400 in ELW, God of Tempest, God of Whirlwind. This music by John Hughes is fairly familiar, used with other hymns in the hymnal God of Grace and God of Glory, and also, to my knowledge, has also been used for some Christmas texts that we're used to singing, or even Epiphany, Angels from the Realms of Glory. Can you do that? Angels from the realms of glory. How does it keep going? We're so used to tunes sometimes, I think, that we don't always realize the power of the text. And here there is quite the power in the text. In fact, I think that's why the tune was selected, the tune also known as Rhonda Valley by John Hughes, because it's a text all about power of Pentecost. Hermann Stümpfle, who has really talked about God of tempest, God of blazing, earthquake, thunder. I mean, it's all in there. Break the chains. But then also there's powerful petitions in prayer. If you look at the end of each verse, sweep us into costly service with Christ to bear the cross. Second verse, where deceit conceals injustice, kindle us to speak your truth. How about this one, verse 3? Crumble walls that still divide us. Make us one in Christ the Lord. And then the fourth one, verse 4, rouse us from content with evil, claim us for your kingdom's work. So all power. And I have, over the years, discovered that this tune, not so much the text, although the text is great, and it is for Pentecost, is really beloved by many pastors and clergy. And then I began to look a little into the history of this tune. It was composed for a Welsh hymn festival. In fact, a Welsh Baptist hymn singing festival. So it would make sense that it's very easy to sing. In fact, it's one of the ones I like to teach all ages because it builds upon each part. So I want to take a brief moment to teach you that. We have at the beginning the A. Very nice, moving. There's not too many skips in there. Pretty easy range, right? Then we have this second part. Some people would call it B, but I'm going to call it an A prime. You can't play the notes. There you go. Finish that off. So the idea is that it starts the same as the first section. So very easy to pick up, right? And instead of going down, it goes up. And then back down. So it builds upon, it's a very easy, predictable motion. So then we have what I would call the B, or some would call the C. What's great about this is we have in music what we call a sequence. We have this pattern, then repeated starting on another note. And then, just to make it easier, at the end, instead of adding something new, we get a revision of the end of the second section. We get instead, the reason why I present it to you that way is I want us all to discover how easy sometimes it is to sing a hymn. We look at it and we think, oh, there's so much there. But that's not always the truth. With each note and how we're going to sing it and values and all that. We can get into that. But it's important sometimes to understand how they're shaped together. Because by understanding that, it's not just easier to sing, it also becomes more powerful as we connect it to our faith. Because if we look at the end, it's sort of a restatement, right? At each verse, there with Christ to bear the cross, there with Christ to bear the cross. So instead of repeating, which he could have done, there with Christ to bear the cross. It's kind of hard to do, but he could have done that. He instead takes what was in the A prime section or B section, and then finishes it off. So by doing this, as you learn each line, it becomes not just more exciting for you as the singer, but it also becomes easier for you, and you know what to predict. So In fact, I think this AAB form is also known as bar form, if you even want to. It's a modified version of it as well. So let's go ahead. God of Tempest, God of Whirlwind, happy Pentecost. I want to give credit to Richard Van Auken. I've selected his arrangement here because it accents that concept of power. And in fact, on verse 3, I'll be doing that. God of earthquake, God of thunder. That's the organ. I'll be using a 32-foot stop to really bring that out, the rumble. So here we go.